And joining me on the line, it's great to welcome to Flow Ross Webb. G'day, Ross. How are you today?
Good, thanks, Clayton. How you going, mate?
Doing all right, buddy. Doing okay. Just before we talk about your song, Cowgirl Angel, just how things been going with you with all the COVID thing. Have you been coping okay? Have you got a good support network around you?
Yeah, look, I'm one of the lucky ones. I've got a day job, I guess, which has helped through the COVID period. As far as music, like everyone else, we were pretty quiet there for quite some time. But we started picking up gigs around about sort of late October, early November last year, just locally where I live in New South Wales, so in the Southern Highlands. And it's been fairly constant sort of since then. Like we've had sort of quite a few gigs since then, right through until now, and we've got bookings up until probably end of March, early April. So we've been pretty lucky on that front, but we don't rely solely on that as an income like others do. So we're pretty lucky.
Very much so. Yeah, I've spoken to others who it's what they do, and they found last year a bit of a struggle and all that. So knowing that, that's why I just like to make sure that we're all doing okay, because I can certainly understand it. Now you've got this new song out, Ross, Cowgirl Angel. It is a beautiful song, so I have to credit you there. It's absolutely beautiful from go to woe. But tell us all about it, because this is really an important and a special song too.
Yeah, it's got a great message. It was it all came about. There's a friend of mine that actually lives here in the Highlands. Christine Eccleston, she writes short stories, poems, and she's just sort of delving into songwriting as well. And she passed this to me as a poem, and as soon as I read it, I just thought, I said to her, this would make such a good song if we can do it justice with the melodies and so forth. And she sort of said, go your hardest, see what you can come up with. And so a young guy that plays in our band, Ben Malone, myself and him put together, we had to revise the lyrics from out of the poem sort of setup that she had, and Ben and I sort of come up with a melody. And as I said, when we first did it, because it's probably been about a 12-month project from go to woe, I guess, and we're just really happy with how it's come about. And as you mentioned, just the message that it's trying to convey about bullying, and in particular the online bullying that young Amy Dolly Everett sort of suffered there, a few years ago. It's just trying to get the message out there. It's just not on, and because of the big impacts that it has on the person involved, plus their family and friends. So we're just trying to make sure we can get that message out there to try and minimise this bullying scenario, which seems to sort of be getting worse and worse.
Yeah, you're spot on there. It is getting worse and worse in so many ways, and it's I can remember back at school and just listening to you talking about it then, I was getting a few flashbacks of experiences I went through, and I know others that have gone through, and speaking more recently to my younger nephews, and one of them wasn't looking forward to starting the school year because of a bully in his class, and we had a good conversation about that, and hopefully that's sort of working to being a bit sorted, and he's getting through that. But you'd be surprised who is getting affected by bullying, and they often don't say anything, and it's encouraging the little kids. Having young Noah say to me what was happening and why he didn't want to go to school. To my innocent question was, "Are you looking forward to going back to school, Noah?" And then the look on his face made me think, something's not right here. And then he tells me, and he couldn't tell his dad, but he could tell me. And sort of as his uncle, because I'm the great uncle, so he tells me things. But I'm glad that he was able to do that and we could work through it. But it is, when you're in that little world, you feel you cannot say anything. So we need to encourage more of that conversation and support as well.
Yeah, and I don't know, as you say, like a lot of them are in that situation where they're either scared to say something in case they suffer more, or whether there's a level of embarrassment. I'm not quite sure what it is, but as you just said, the more and more we can get people to talk about it, the more others can obviously help them and sort of try and minimise the situations. Unfortunately, social media makes it pretty hard these days, because the old keyboard warriors, they're anonymous. They just jump on there and sort of say whatever they want to say, and don't even think about the impacts of, what they can have on the recipients. So if we can try and raise the issue and keep raising the issue, with a bit of luck, we might be able to sort of turn the corner, and hopefully there's less of it.
Yes, we don't want to see any more of it. It needs to stop, especially for the young kids. And you're right with social media, the coward warriors there, they're on the keyboard. Yeah, it's easy to do it when you're hiding in your room. You're so brave.
Exactly.
So brave. But with the song, when you were recording it and with those lyrics and that, I can understand in my head that you want to make sure you get every part of inflections and tones right. So was this one of those songs where you knew all the way through you had to get every part of it right?
Oh, most definitely. And as you mentioned, like when you were listening to it, it sort of brought back memories. And I think all of us, myself included, at some point in time have been on the receiving end. And I must admit, as we were recording it, it sort of brought back those sort of issues, which sort of, I guess, helps you convey the message because you're sort of bringing across how you felt at the time. You know, I've got kids and at different stages through their schooling life, they sort of suffered the same. And as a parent, you get a different feeling as a you know, because you just feel for your kids so much. So that sort of, as much as you don't want it to happen, it did help when we were recording the song because you could sort of definitely understand to an extent what people are going through. So it was important that we could do that.
With when you're in the recording process and other people with you, did it spark conversations? Did you sort of start to have an open conversation with other musos and all that about similar situations that you'd all gone through?
Oh, definitely. And as I said, I think there wouldn't be too many people that haven't been affected by it in some shape or form, whether it was at school or work or whatever. And as you say, it did, like through the recording process, it just sort of makes people stop and think about their own experience, and it did at the time. So, you know, we had the guys in the band, and we've got a bit of a mixture. We've got, you know, guys from that are 21 through to mid-50s in the band. So we all sort of were able to share, I guess, different experiences that we'd been through, whether it's parents or just ourselves.
Have you performed the song live yet?
We have, yeah. We sort of started performing it live probably just before Christmas when we started getting some gigs back.
Yep.
And the feedback's been tremendous. Like, we're so happy. And you know, I have put it on, obviously, social media since its release on the 8th of Feb. And the feedback we've got from such a range of people saying it's such a great song, such a beautiful song. Obviously, It's a sad message to an extent, but they're just, like we're saying it, they're just so happy that we're conveying the message and sort of raising the issue to make sure that, you know, people are more aware and sort of ask the questions that you mentioned about your young nephew and sort of looking after people to that extent.
And just to note here too that if anyone listening to our conversation now, if it is bringing up something and you need to reach out and talk, don't forget there is Lifeline available on the number 13 11 14. And for the kids, there is the Kids Helpline. Remember this number, put it in the kids' phone if they ever need it. It's 1-800-55-1800. That's 1-800-55-1800. Now, Ross, just going back to when you're performing it live, you're looking out across the crowd. Are you seeing them sort of nodding and like they're taking notes and maybe looking to someone younger next to them to have conversations? What are you seeing when you're looking out while you're performing it?
I must admit, it's just pure engagement, which is great because they basically just sort of sit there. I'm not going to say forlornly, but you can tell they're actively thinking about, obviously, circumstances they've been involved with. But, yeah, I don't know, it's a very surreal experience, to be honest. And particularly at the end of the song, I'm not saying it's relief, but you can just see them all just go, wow.
Yeah.
You know, it just sort of makes them sort of think. And it's been a revelation, to be honest.
Well, I can certainly understand that. And yes, and that was sort of my sort of reaction. Yeah, I can understand what the crowd was thinking. Well, Ross, what's coming up next for you? You've got the song out at the moment. I know you want to start doing some more gigs and all that, but what's sort of the plan moving forward as throughout 2021?
Yeah, so we're looking to have an EP sort of released hopefully mid-year, maybe slightly later. We've got a lot of stuff sort of in the can ready to go. There's just a couple of other songs that we're just doing some tweaks on at the moment in the recording studio. Those two songs will they will be our next singles that we're going to release over the course of the next few months. So the plan is sort of see where this particular single takes us over the next month or so, and then with the plan of releasing a second and third single in due course, and then the EP following that. So pretty busy over the next sort of 6 months, I suggest, with some releases and promo work, and then obviously some gigs as well, tapped into the end of it. So fingers crossed it all plays out the way I'm thinking it should.
Well, I've got my fingers crossed for you. I'm sure it's going to work out. It'll all be good. And if anything based in the future is based on what you're doing right now with this song, then, I'm looking forward to what you're going to be doing next and hearing those songs when they come out. So good luck with that.
Beautiful. Thanks, Clayton.
Well, Ross, it has been a great chatting to you today on Flow. Thank you so much for spending some time with us. I'm looking forward to when we can have a good face-to-face conversation as well and maybe talk about this and other issues, but I feel we could do that. But right now, we've got your song here ready to go for the Flow listeners. Thank you so much for spending time with us, and if you could please introduce the song for us.
Yeah, thanks again, Clayton, and all your listeners. Hope you really enjoyed. This is my new single. It's Cowgirl Angel.
You needed to fly free. You thought your time was now. Your message will be heard because you're brave enough somehow. The dreams of those around you, they weren't the way they planned. The future turned around on them. Now they need a helping hand. Ride on, Cowgirl Angel. Your ride has just begun. Your angel horse will carry you endless days in the shining sun. So Cowgirl Angel, as you ride, keep a loving eye on those you loved and left behind. Keep their teardrops dry. You'll stay in their hearts forever. Your smile will bring a tear. The few years you walked this earth were not in vain, so don't you fear. Ride on, Cowgirl Angel. Your ride has just begun. Your angel horse will carry you endless days in the shining sun. The memories that you left forever in their hearts. No longer do you smile. We'll always tear them apart. You gave them so much happiness, a sadness they didn't know. No longer do you cry as you ride above the sky. Needed to fly free.